Good day, everyone. My name is Gyimah, and today we are here to solve practical and examinable questions on types of commission, the 6 types of commission. So I'm pleading with you to focus and stay attentive as we solve the questions on the board. Now let's proceed to the first set of questions. The first set of questions will be under straight commission. So let's proceed. Kwame works as a sales agent for Alpha Traders and earns a straight commission of 8% on total net sales. In March, he made gross sales of 180 Ghana cedis, 180,000 Ghana cedis. Customers returned goods worth 22,500 Ghana cedis. Customers returned goods worth 22,000 Ghana cedis, 22,500 Ghana cedis, and trade discount of 7,500 were allowed. Calculate Kwame's commission for March. So with this question, you first write down your apparatus. You break the questions down so that you get the understanding and the freedom to solve the question. So now let's proceed to our rate given in the question. The rate given in the question is 8%. And when you convert 8% to decimals, you get 0.08. Now, sales. Sales given in the question is 180,000 Ghana cedis. 180,000 Ghana cedis. 180,000 Ghana cedis. Returns were provided in the question, and it's 22,500. 22,500 Ghana cedis. Discounts were allowed. Discount allowed is 7,500 Ghana cedis. So now these are our apparatus, and this is going to aid us solve the question. So now we are calculating for our commission. So we all know the formula for commission. Commission is sales times rate. But in this question, returns have been provided. So you calculate commission on a commission amount. So commission amount therefore becomes sales minus returns. Multiplying your rate. So now let's fix in our apparatus. The sales was given as 180,000 Ghana cedis. Returns 22,500 Ghana cedis. Now our rate is 0.08. Therefore, our commission amount is 157,500. 157,000 Ghana cedis, 500. So we therefore multiply this amount by our rate, 0.08. 0.08, getting 1,260 Ghana cedis. Getting 1,260 Ghana cedis. So this is the procedure for calculating straight commission. So let's solve another example under the same straight commission. We move on to the second question. It says Amma earns 12% straight commission on all her sales. Amma earns 12% straight commission on all her sales. In April, she sold goods worth 95,000 Ghana cedis. Out of this amount, 15,000 Ghana cedis was sold on credit, but later returned off as bad debt. Determine Amma's commission for April. So with this question, you state your apparatus as usual. So the rate was given to be 12%. Converting this to decimal becomes 0.12. Our sales was given to be 95,000 Ghana cedis. 95,000 Ghana cedis. Then a bad debt was provided. When we talk about bad debt, I say obi de okana, obi abeje onyoma, so obi tuya, say untuya. That is what we mean by bad debt. So bad debt, provision of bad debt was 15,000 Ghana cedis. 15,000 Ghana cedis. So now what we do is that the question is asking us to find our commission. But before that, we have to find our actual sales since there is a bad debt. So you subtract the bad debt from the sales. You have to subtract the bad debt from the sales to get your actual sales in order to proceed. So the sales was given to be 95,000 Ghana cedis. And the bad debt is 15,000. So now when you do your subtraction, you are getting that of 80,000 Ghana cedis. 80,000 Ghana cedis. So this is the actual sales which will help us find our commission. So now you multiply this 80,000 Ghana cedis by the rate. You multiply this by the rate and you are getting 9,600 Ghana cedis. 9,600 Ghana cedis. So this is our commission. We move on to the next type of commission. So now we move on to the next type of what? Commission, which is salary plus commission. Salary plus commission. Salary plus commission. So with a salary plus commission, we're also going to solve examples under this type. So with the first example, AC receives a basic salary of 1,800 cedis per month. AC receives a basic salary of 1,800 per month and a commission of 5% on all sales on all sales. In June, her total sales amounted to 72,000 Ghana cedis. Calculate AC's total earning for June. So, as usual, we break the question down and we list down our apparatus. So the basic salary given in the question is 1,800. It's 1,800 Ghana cedis per month, and a commission of 5% on all sales. Commission of 5% on all sales. So the rate here is 5%. When converted, it becomes 0.05. It becomes 0.05. So now the question is asking us to find or calculate AC's total earnings. So the formula for calculating total earnings then becomes salary or basic salary plus commission. Basic salary plus commission. So what we are going to do here is that we would first have to find the commission for AC. We would first have to find the commission before we proceed in finding the basic salary. So her total sales amounted to 72,000. So we have to provide the sales. So the sales is 72,000 Ghana cedis. So in computing the commission, we already know the formula for calculating commission, which is sales times rate. So rate has been provided and sales have been provided. The sales is 72,000 Ghana cedis and the rate is 0.05, or in other words 5%. So it then becomes 3,600 Ghana cedis. 3,600 Ghana cedis. That's the commission. So the commission is 3,600 Ghana cedis. 3,600 Ghana cedis. So after getting the commission, now you state your formula again, which is TE, representing total earning, equals salary plus commission. The salary provided in the question is 1,800. Then you add it to the commission calculated, which is 3,600 Ghana cedis, which is 3,600 Ghana cedis, and therefore it becomes 5,400 Ghana cedis. It becomes 5,400 Ghana cedis. 5,400 Ghana cedis. So that's the total earning. That's the total earning for AC as required by the question. We move on to our second example under the salary plus commission. So we move on to the second question under salary plus commission. So it says Kojo earns a monthly salary of 2,200 cedis. Kojo earns a monthly salary of 2,200 Ghana cedis plus 7% commission on sales exceeding 40,000 plus 7% commission on sales exceeding 40,000. In May, his sales were 68,500. Determine Kojo's total earnings for month. So now let's break down the apparatus. Monthly salary is 2,200. Monthly salary is 2,200 Ghana cedis plus 7% commission on sales exceeding 40,000. In May, his total sales were 68,500. Determine Kojo's total earning. So his sales was 68,500. 68,500 Ghana cedis. 68,500 Ghana cedis. His rate was 7%. Rate 7%, which is 0.07. There was a quota given in the question, which is 40,000. 40,000 Ghana cedis. 40,000 Ghana cedis. Now, the question is asking us to calculate or determine Kojo's total earnings for the month. Kojo's total earnings for the month. So, total earnings, we don't know. And we know that when calculating total earnings, the formula becomes salary plus commission. Salary plus commission. So now we first have to find our commission. And as you know, when there is a quota given, commission is calculated on a commission amount. So now we find our commission amount. So it becomes sales minus quota. Sales minus quota times rate. Sales minus quota into bracket times rate. So the sales given was 68,500 Ghana cedis. 68,500 Ghana cedis. The quota was 40,000 Ghana cedis. 40,000 Ghana cedis. 40,000 Ghana cedis. And the rate was given to be 0.07. 0.07. So now our commission amount is 28,500. 28,500 Ghana cedis. 28,500 Ghana cedis. So now our commission amount, when we subtracted the quota from the sales, gave us 28,500 Ghana cedis. So we would have to multiply it by our rate, our commission rate, which is 0.07. 0.07, and it's giving us 1,995 Ghana cedis. 1,995 Ghana cedis as commission. As commission. 1,995 Ghana cedis. So now our commission is 1,995 Ghana cedis. So let's compute it into our formula. So now the commission is 1,995 Ghana cedis. 1,995 Ghana cedis. So we would have to add the 1,995 Ghana cedis to the salary, giving us our total earning. So the salary is 2,200 Ghana cedis, and the commission is 1,995 Ghana cedis, giving us 4,195. 4,195 Ghana cedis. So we move on to the next set of questions. So now we move on to the next type of commission, which is salary plus bonus. So we take our first question. Mensa earns a monthly salary of 2,000 and a commission of 6% on sales. He also receives a bonus commission of 4% on sales above 80,000. In July, his sales were 110,000 Ghana cedis. Calculate Mensa's total earning. So we compute our apparatus and we get back to the question. So the salary provided was 2,000 Ghana cedis. The salary provided was 2,000 Ghana cedis and a commission of 6% on sales. So the rate here is 6%. He also receives a bonus commission of 4%. So here the bonus rate here is 4%. The bonus rate here is 4%. Above 80,000. So the bonus quota here too is 80,000 Ghana cedis. Ghana cedis. In July, his total sales were 110,000 Ghana cedis. So the sales is 110,000 Ghana cedis. Calculate Mensa's total earning. So we first have to compute that of the formula. So with this formula, it becomes salary plus commission plus bonus, if any. So you can get a question asking you to compute the total earning, but bonus won't be required. And there can also be a question where bonus will be required. So that's why you have to place if any there. So now we have our apparatus here, and we would have to first get our commission. So now we move on to find our commission. And we all know commission is sales times rate. Sales times rate here. So our sales here is 110,000 Ghana cedis times our rate, which is 0.06, which is 0.06. So we are getting 6,600 Ghana cedis. 6,600 Ghana cedis as commission. So let's place it somewhere. Commission as 6,600 Ghana cedis. And let's go ahead to find our bonus amount. Our bonus amount. Because this question, bonus quota was given, a rate for bonus was given, but the actual amount wasn't given. So you would have to find the amount of bonus that you would have to compute in your final answer. So in calculating the bonus amount, we have a bonus quota here. So you'd have to subtract this bonus quota from the sales. Then you multiply it by your bonus rate. So your bonus amount becomes 30,000. Your bonus amount becomes 30,000. That's when you subtract the 80,000 from the 110,000. Then you come and multiply it by your bonus rate, which is 0.04, getting 1,200. Getting 1,200 Ghana cedis. So this is your bonus amount, the amount that you will be adding as bonus. So the salary here is 2,000 Ghana cedis. The commission is 6,600 Ghana cedis, and the bonus is 1,200 Ghana cedis, getting 9,800 Ghana cedis. Getting 9,800 Ghana cedis as your total earning. As your total earning. We move on to the next question. We move on to the next question, which is Abena receives a salary of 1,750. Abena receives a salary of 1,750, a normal commission of 5%, and a bonus commission of 3%. If sales exceed 60,000 Ghana cedis, if sales exceed 60,000 Ghana cedis, in September, her sales amounted to 59,800 Ghana cedis. Determine her total earning. So let's compute our workings here. So the salary given is 1,750. The salary given is 1,750. 1,750 Ghana cedis. The rate is 5%. The rate given is 5%. The rate given is 5%. Bonus rate is 3%. Bonus rate is 3%. Bonus quota stated in the question is 60,000 Ghana cedis. Bonus quota is 60,000 Ghana cedis. And now the sales that was computed in the question is 59,800 Ghana cedis. 59,800 Ghana cedis. 59,800 Ghana cedis. Now, let's determine her total earning. So you first have to find your commission. You first have to find your commission. And the commission is sales times rate. So the sales here is 59,800 Ghana cedis. And the rate is 0.05. 0.05, making it 2,990 Ghana cedis. 2,990 Ghana cedis for commission. So now we move on to the next question. It says Yalson is paid 2,500 monthly salary, 4% commission on sales, and an extra 2% bonus on the excess over 100,000 Ghana cedis. In December, his sales totaled 145,000 Ghana cedis, but returns were 15,000 Ghana cedis. Calculate his total earning. So let's compute the apparatus now. Salary is 2,500 Ghana cedis. Salary is 2,500 Ghana cedis. Rate is 4%. Rate is given to be 4%. Bonus rate is 2%. Bonus quota is 100,000 Ghana cedis. Bonus quota 100,000 Ghana cedis. Sales was given to be 145,000 Ghana cedis. 145,000 Ghana cedis. And this question, there were returns. And returns is 15,000 Ghana cedis. 15,000 Ghana cedis. So we would have to get our commission first. And in computing the commission, returns have been provided. So you would have to subtract your returns from your sales. So with this commission, it becomes commission amount times commission rate, where the commission amount becomes the sales minus the returns. The sales minus the returns, then multiplying your rate. So the sales here is 145,000 Ghana cedis, and the returns is 15,000 Ghana cedis. The rate was given to be 0.04, 0.04. So the commission amount becomes 130,000 Ghana cedis. Then you multiply it by your rate 0.04, getting 5,200 as your commission. Getting 5,200 as your commission. Getting 5,200 Ghana cedis as our commission. So now we know our commission. Let's proceed to finding the bonus amount. So as I said, with the bonus amount, there was a bonus rate, there was a bonus quota. So first of all, you would have to subtract your bonus quota from the sales. You'd have to subtract your bonus quota from the sales, and the amount you get, you multiply your bonus rate by it. So now the bonus amount is 900 Ghana cedis, 900 Ghana cedis. So we subtracted the bonus quota, which is 100,000 from the sales, which is 145,000 Ghana cedis, 145,000 Ghana cedis. And after getting that, we had 4,500, and we multiplied our bonus rate, which is 2%, by the 4,500, getting 900 Ghana cedis. So now we would have to compute our total earning. So the salary is 2,500, and with the commission we had 5,200, 5,200 Ghana cedis. And now there is a need for bonus. So we add the bonus, which is 900 Ghana cedis, getting 8,600 Ghana cedis. Getting 8,600 Ghana cedis as our total earning. As our total earning. Now we move on to the next type of commission, which is graduated commission. Graduated commission. So now we are computing our total earning. So with the total earning, we will have to add the salary to the commission, which is 2,990. With this question, there won't be any need to add bonus because the quota was given to be 60,000 Ghana cedis, exceeding 60,000 Ghana cedis. But we had sales of 59,800. That means the sales personnel didn't get up to the quota or didn't exceed the quota. So there won't be any need to add a bonus here. So the total earning becomes 4,740. So the total earning becomes 4,740. As I said, this question, there won't be any need to add bonus to it because the question says Abner receives a salary of 1,750, a normal commission of 5%, and a bonus commission of 3% if sales exceed 60,000. And the sales didn't exceed 60,000, so there won't be any need for bonus. We move on to the next question. So now we move on to graduated commission. Graduated commission is complicated and confusing. So please pay attention here as I explain and break it down to your understanding. So now a sales agent earns commission as follows: 5% on first 30,000, 5% on first 30,000, on first 30,000 Ghana cedis, 8% on next 40,000 Ghana cedis, 10% on next 50,000 Ghana cedis, 10% on next 50,000 Ghana cedis, 12% on sales above 120,000 Ghana cedis, 12% on sales above 120,000 Ghana cedis. Now pay attention here. If the total sales for the month were 165,000 Ghana cedis, calculate the total commission. So the total sales given is 165,000 Ghana cedis. So now this is what we do here. With this first percent, with this 5% on first 30,000 is constant. You would have to find it. You would have to solve for it. So you find 5% of the 30,000. And when you do the calculation for it, you get 1,500 Ghana cedis. You get 1,500 Ghana cedis. So now, after getting your 1,500 Ghana cedis, you would have to subtract this 30,000 from this amount. You'd have to subtract this 30,000 from this amount, which is 165,000. Now, after subtracting, you are getting an amount of 135,000. You are getting an amount of 135,000 Ghana cedis. Now, when you get this amount, you would have to check whether this amount exceeds the following amount here, or the following amount exceeds the amount you got after subtracting the first 30,000 from the 165, which is the total sales. So now, when we subtracted the 30,000 here from the total sales, we had 135,000, and the 135,000 exceeds 40,000. So now we are eligible to find 8% on the next 40,000. So now, since we are eligible to find 8% on the next 40,000, we had 3,200. We had 3,200 Ghana cedis. We had 3,200 Ghana cedis. So now we proceed to the next. Before we can check whether we are eligible to find 10% on next 50,000 Ghana cedis, we would have to subtract 40,000 from 135,000. We would have to subtract this 40,000 here from 135,000. The 135,000 was gotten when we subtracted 30,000 from 165,000. So now to check that we can go ahead to find 10% on next 50,000, we would have to subtract this 40,000 from the 135,000. And when we subtract it, we are getting 95,000 Ghana cedis. We are getting 95,000 Ghana cedis. And now 95,000 Ghana cedis exceeds 50,000. So as far as it exceeds 50,000, we are eligible to find 10% on the next 50,000. So now 10% on the next 50,000 is giving us 5,000 Ghana cedis. It's giving us 5,000 Ghana cedis. So now we would have to also do some subtraction here. It says we have 50,000 here, so we would have to subtract 50,000 from the 95,000, because the question says if total sales for the month were 165,000 Ghana cedis, and below we have 12% on sales above 120,000. We have 12% on sales above 120,000. So we would have to subtract 50,000 from the 95,000 Ghana cedis. And when we subtract the 50,000 from the 95,000 Ghana cedis, we are getting 45,000. We are getting 45,000. We are getting 45,000. So getting the 45,000, it says 12% on sales above 120,000. So 45,000 does not exceed 120,000, but rather 120,000 exceeds 45,000. So therefore, we can't go ahead to find 12% of this 45,000 here. So what we will do is we are going to add all these figures. We are going to add all these figures, and when we add them, the amount we get is our commission. The amount we get is our commission. So we are getting 9,700 Ghana cedis. We are getting 9,700 Ghana cedis. We move on to the next question. Lender's commission structure is 4% on first 25,000. 4% on first 25,000. 6% on next 35,000. 6% on next 35,000. 9% on next 60,000. 11% on the remainder. 11% on the remainder. In October, her sales amounted to 140,000. Her sales amounted to 140,000. but goods worth 10,000 were returned. So sales 140,000, 140,000 Ghana cedis, but goods worth 10,000 were returned. So returns is 10,000. 10,000 Ghana cedis. So calculate her commission. So with this question, sales have been given, returns have been given. So what you do first is that you subtract your returns from your sales to get the actual sales. To get the actual sales. So you subtract your returns from your sales to get your actual sales. So the sales is given to be 140,000 Ghana cedis, and return is 10,000 Ghana cedis, getting 130,000 Ghana cedis. So this is the actual sales. This is the actual sales we will be using to solve the question. This is the actual sales we will be using to solve the question. So let's compute this somewhere. So the actual sales 130,000 Ghana cedis. So now we proceed to how we solve the first question. To how we solve the first question. So we would have to first find the first 5% on the first 4% on the first 25,000. 4% on the first 25,000. We are getting 1,000 Ghana cedis. 1,000 Ghana cedis. So now we have 6% on next 35,000. We would have to know whether we are eligible to solve for the 6% on next 35,000. So we have to subtract 25,000 from our actual sales, which is 130,000, And when we do so, we are getting 105,000 Ghana cedis. We are getting 105,000 Ghana cedis. The 105,000 Ghana cedis exceeds 35,000 here, so we are eligible to find 6% of it. And we are getting 2,100 Ghana cedis. So now we have 9% on next 60,000. How will we know that we are eligible to find 9% on next 60,000? We would have to subtract 35,000 here from 105,000. And when we do so, we are getting 70,000 Ghana cedis. We are getting 70,000 Ghana cedis, and 70,000 Ghana cedis exceeds 60,000 Ghana cedis, so we can find 9% of it. So finding 9% of it, we get 5,400 Ghana cedis. We get 5,400 Ghana cedis. So it says 11% on the remaining. So we would have to check if we are eligible of finding 11% of the remaining. So we subtract 60,000 from 70,000, and we are getting when we subtract 60,000 from 70,000, we are getting 10,000. So when you subtract 60,000 from 70,000, we are getting 10,000. We are getting 10,000 Ghana cedis. So now the remaining is 10,000 Ghana cedis. So we find 11% on the remainder. So we have to find 11% of the 10,000 Ghana cedis. So we get 1,100. We get 1,100. So 11% of the 10,000 is 1,100. So now after getting this, you add the figures here. You add the figures here, and is what you get here is your earnings. What you get here is your earning. As the question required, which is calculate her commission. What you get is your commission. So you are getting 9,600. You are getting 9,600 Ghana cedis as your total commission. As your total commission. We move on to the next question under graduated commission. So the last question under graduated commission is a company pays graduated commission as follows: 6% on first 50,000, 6% on first 50,000, 7% on next 30,000, 30,000, 7% on next 30,000 Ghana cedis, 9% on next 40,000, 9% on next 40,000, next 40,000, 13% on any excess. So any excess, 13% on any excess. So any excess that comes after, you find 13% of it. So now it says if net sales for the month were 155,000. So the sales given is 155,000 Ghana cedis. Determine the commission end. Determine the commission end. So, as you know, we will first have to find 6% on first 50,000 because this is constant. And we are getting 3,000 Ghana cedis. So now after getting 6% for the 6% of the 50,000, you would have to check if you are eligible in calculating the 7% on next 30,000. And how do we do that? We subtract the 50,000 from the total sales. You subtract the 50,000 from the total sales, and you get 105,000 Ghana cedis. You get 105,000 Ghana cedis. Get 105,000 Ghana cedis, and the 105,000 Ghana cedis exceeds the 30,000, so you can solve for its 7%. And you solve for its 7%, you are getting 2,100. You are getting 2,100 Ghana cedis, and you move on to the 9% on next 40,000. So you'd have to subtract 30,000 from 105,000 to see if you are eligible. And when you do that, you are getting 75,000. You are getting 75,000 Ghana cedis. And yes, 75,000 Ghana cedis exceeds 40,000 here, so you find it's 9%. And this 9% is 3,600. 3,600 Ghana cedis. 3,600 Ghana cedis. So now you would have to find out if there's going to be any excess. So you subtract 40,000 here from 75,000. You subtract 40,000 here from 75,000. And when you do so, you are getting 35,000 Ghana cedis. You are getting 35,000 Ghana cedis. And the question says you find 13% on any excess. So the excess here, which is 35,000 Ghana cedis, we find 13% of it. And this 13% is giving us 4,550 Ghana cedis. 4,550 Ghana cedis. So after getting these figures here, you add all, and you are getting 13,250. You are getting 13,250 Ghana cedis as your total commission. We move on to the next type of commission. So now we move on to the next type of commission, which is override commission. Override commission. Which is override commission. Kofi is a regional sales supervisor who earns an override commission of 3%. So the override rate is 3%. On total sales made by his team. In June, his 5 sales agents recorded total sales of 620,000. Total sales of 620,000 Ghana cedis. Of 620,000 Ghana cedis. Calculate Kofi's override commission. So when calculating override, it's simply override sales times override rate. Override sales times override rate. So override commission, which is OC, override commission, becomes override sales times override rate. So now the override sales here is 620,000 Ghana cedis. Multiplying override rate, which is 3%, when computed into decimals, becomes 0.03. So now the answer becomes 18,600. Override commission, which is OC, becomes 18,600 Ghana cedis. We move on to the next question under override commission. Equia earns an override commission of 2.5% on her subordinate sales. 2.5%. So override rate, which is OR, is 2.5%. When computed to decimals, it becomes 0.025. 0.025. The team recorded gross sales of 480,000 Ghana cedis. The team recorded gross sales of 480,000 Ghana cedis, but returns amounted to 36,000 Ghana cedis. Determine Equia's override commission. So here, the override sales is 480,000, which is OS is 480,000 Ghana cedis. 480,000 Ghana cedis, and provisions of returns were made here. Returns amounted to 36,000 Ghana cedis. 36,000 Ghana cedis. 36,000 Ghana cedis. So now what do? We find our override commission. So finding our override commission, we would have to subtract returns from sales. We would have to subtract returns from sales before we can actually proceed. So we have to subtract 36,000 from 480,000 Ghana cedis. How to subtract 36,000 from 480,000 Ghana cedis, and when we do so, we are getting 444,000 Ghana cedis. 444,000 Ghana cedis. 444,000 Ghana cedis. Now, when we get the 444,000 Ghana cedis, we go ahead to multiply our override rate by the 444,000 Ghana cedis to get our override commission. And when we do so, override commission, which is OC becomes 11,100 Ghana cedis. 11,100 Ghana cedis. 11,100 Ghana cedis. So this is how the override commission is solved and computed. We move on to the next type of commission, which is outright commission and rebate. Which is outright commission and rebate. So now we move on to the last type of commission, which is the outright commission and rebate. So let's take our first question. A wholesale allows retailers an outright commission of 10% on invoice price, an outright commission of 10% on invoice price. So the outright rate here you can also represent it by oral, is 10% on invoice price. 10% on invoice price. When converted to decimal, it becomes 0.1. It becomes 0.1. The rate is 10%, which is 0.1. It says a retailer purchased goods worth 75,000. So 75,000 is our sales. 75,000 Ghana cedis is our sales. Calculate the outright commission on the net amount and the net amount payable. Calculate the outright commission and the net amount payable. So the outright commission is just going to be simple. As we all know, sales times rate. Sales times rate. So the sales here, the outright sales here is 75,000 and the outright rate is 0.1. So let's go ahead to find the outright commission. So OC becomes OS times OR, which is outright sales times outright rate. So OC becomes 75,000 Ghana cedis times 0.1 times 0.1, making 7,500. So our outright commission is 7,500 Ghana cedis. But the question asks us to compute our outright commission and net amount payable. So now the net amount payable, we are going to compute. Now we have our outright commission to be 7,500 Ghana cedis. But the question said calculate the outright commission and the net amount payable. So the net amount payable is going to be you subtract the outright commission from the outright sales, which was given by the question. So the outright sales is 75,000 Ghana cedis, and the outright commission is 7,500 Ghana cedis. When you compute this, you are getting 67,500. You're getting 67,500 Ghana cedis, and this is the net amount payable. We move on to the second question. So now the second question. A distributor grants an outright commission of 12%. So the outright rate, which is the OR, is 12% here. And an additional rebate of 5%. So rebate rate is 5%, which is 0.05. Rebate rate is 5%. If purchases exceed 100,000, rebate rate rebate of 5% if purchases exceed 100,000. So rebate has a quota here. The quota for the question itself is 100,000. 100,000. That's the quota. A retailer purchased goods worth 140,000. A retailer purchased goods worth 140,000. So that is the sales. 140,000. Calculate the total benefit received by the retailer. Calculate the total benefit received by the retailer. So we will first have to find our rebate. We will first have to find our rebate. And calculating rebate becomes rebate amount times rebate rate. So rebate amount then becomes 140,000, which is our sales. We will subtract the quota, which is 100,000, from our 140,000, which is the sales, to get the rebate amount. Then we multiply it by the rebate rate. So when we subtracted 100,000 from 140,000 to get the rebate amount, we had 40,000 Ghana cedis. So now after getting the 40,000 Ghana cedis, you will have to multiply 0.05 being the rebate rate by the 40,000 to get your rebate. To get your rebate. So when we do this, we are getting 2,000 Ghana cedis. We are getting 2,000 Ghana cedis as our rebate. So before we can calculate the total benefit received, we now have our rebate. We would have to calculate our outright commission. And after getting the outright commission, the benefit will be outright commission plus the rebate. The outright commission plus the rebate. So now let's move on to find our outright commission. Our outright commission, we will first have to find outright commission amount. And the outright commission amount is same as we did for the rebate. When computing the rebate, we would have to subtract 100,000 from 140,000. So outright commission, so that is the commission amount times the rate. So we subtract 100,000 from 140,000. We are getting 40,000 here. Then we multiply the rate, the outright rate. The outright rate was given to be 0.12, which is 12%. So you multiply it by 0.12 or 12%, and you are getting 4,800. You are getting 4,800. So now we add rebate to the outright commission to get our benefit. So now the benefit which the question is demanding becomes 4,800 plus 2,000 Ghana cedis. The 2,000 Ghana cedis is the rebate, and the 4,800 is the outright commission gotten. And when you add this, you are getting 6,800 Ghana cedis. 6,800 Ghana cedis as the question demanded, the total benefit received by the trailer. Thank you very much for staying with me and following the process. My name is Gyimah Addae. This is where we bring the end of types of commission, examples and examinable questions on types of commission. See you another time. The name is Gas. Thank you.